Welcome back, everyone. This is Thomas Triple T Tie with another new bullish crypto analysis. Before we dig in and take a look at the macro news that may impact the markets, remember this is for edutainment only and not to be considered as financial advice. Also, I would appreciate it if you could help spread my analysis out to help others stay informed and make better decisions. So, with that, to do that, feel free to smash the like, ring my bell, hit subscribe, and share your questions and comments in the comment section. So let's dig in and take a look at the macro news. I need my mouse highlighter. Here we go. This is from The Verge. Netflix is laying off 150 employees and cutting dozens from its Tudum fan site. And why am I bringing this up? Well, as you know, Netflix and other companies have recently released their earnings. And for the companies that are, especially tech companies, and that are not doing very well in their returns, they're going to start laying off people. That impacts unemployment. Unemployment impacts the economy. So we want to keep our eyes on especially big companies. According to CNN, if I can get that ad out of the way, FDA announces it will make it easier to import some baby formulas to ease shortage. As you know, there is a shortage in baby formulas in America, and so the FDA is looking to work with other countries such as Mexico, Ireland, and the Netherlands to get more imports in. And there's another article that talks about a federal court working with the FDA and a baby food company to get more supplies out. So America's electric grid has a $2 trillion problem. Magnify this up so you can see. Basically, the U.S. power grid is strained as is. The disruption and outages becoming more frequent in many regions, especially regions like Texas. They had a horrible issue last year. A regulatory nightmare makes investments in the grid more complicated. Grid upgrades may cost up to $2 trillion through 2050. So our power grids are pretty dated, and it needs a massive upgrade. And with more things being plugged in and draining electricity, it's making it even tougher, especially with the EV markets growing as well. There was a section here I wanted to highlight. Let me see if I can find it. California warned last week that it would need to produce more electricity than it is currently producing to avoid blackouts. Let's see here. California is one of them. Texas the other one. Anyways, feel free to check it out. But just expect, not only do we have rising food prices, rising energy prices in some regions, they may not be able to. They may have issues with getting power, period. So just headwinds ahead as we approach summer when the air conditioning units across America starts turning up. That's going to suck a lot of electricity too. So, and if demand goes up, more than likely price is going to go up as well. According to CNBC, ex-Goldman CEO Blankfein says recession possibly is very high risk factor. Former Goldman Sachs CEO Lloyd Blankfein said he believes the economy is at risk of possibly going into a recession. So, different experts say different things, but according to Blankfein, he said there is there's a path, a very narrow path that the Fed could navigate through that. We may not end in a recession, but it's a very narrow path. Powell said the Fed will keep raising rates until it tames inflation. We got to get inflation in control. So I think it's a good idea, but too much, too fast, too aggressive, that's where recession will, we might land in a recession. And no one wants that. Here's the article from CNN. Judge signs off on steps troubled baby formula manufacturer must take to restart a closed plant. And this, I believe, is in Michigan. I believe it's a federal judge has signed off on a legally binding agreement between the United States Food and Drug Administration and baby formula manufacturer Abbott Nutrition, the company at the heart of a nationwide formula recall. So that's part of the issue with the lack of supply for baby formula. Yeah, this company's in. They have an operation in Sturgis, Michigan. So hopefully, once they follow through on the steps necessary to fulfill the agreements, then they can start up production, and that will help ease the demand by increasing supply. CNN, CNBC, Powell's. Well, same article as before, similar article, so we'll skip it. This is according to U.S. News. Russia's behavior amounts to repudiation of agreement with NATO, Germany says. A while ago, in 1997, there was an agreement between Russia and NATO that they would, here, I'll read it to you. The Russian government has made it clear that the NATO-Russia Founding Act is no longer worth doing anything to it. So we now have to acknowledge that this basic act was also unilaterally terminated by Russia, not by NATO. This was back in 1997. The agreement was designed to build trust and limit both sides' force presence in the Eastern Europe. NATO suspended the practice cooperation with Russia in 2014 following Moscow's seizure of Ukraine's Crimea Peninsula. So, did you know there was an agreement? Agreements don't mean much these days between these countries or organizations, especially when it comes to Russia. They just do as they will. Newsweek. Ukraine troops recorded message for Zelensky after reaching Russian border. And this was a group of Ukrainian troops. They pushed the Russians almost back to the border of Russia and Ukraine. So it's pretty cool. It was the 227th Battalion of the 127th Brigade. They claim they have reached the border with Russia on Sunday, where they purportedly filmed a message for the Ukraine's leader. You know, one thing that has come out of this invasion, this evil, stupid invasion, is that the testament to Ukrainian troops and the training they receive from the West. So pretty effective. Well done. Also, according to Newsweek, Russian officers killing their own wounded, says captured soldier in a video. This story is about Russian commanders killing injured troops instead of like giving them the aids and the care that they need. And these are really young men that they're killing. In one incident, there was a description about a young man. Here, I'll read it to you. It was a young man. He was wounded. He was on the ground, a soldier explains, according to the video. He was asked if he could walk, and obviously he couldn't, so he was shot dead. And they claim there was, in my previous video on macro news, there was an article about how I think about a third of all the troops, Russian troops, have died. So not looking good for Russia. And this was not an isolated incident. There were various accounts of similar situation happening where they just shoot their soldiers dead instead of giving them the care that they need. So Russian soldiers, just go home or surrender, and you'll be better off. According to BBC News, bank governor in apocalyptic warning over rising food prices. Basically, the bank governor said that, and this is, I believe, is in the UK. He says the possibility of more rises in food prices is a major worry for the UK and other countries, the Bank of England governor has warned. So I previously talked about this, but it continues to be in the news because it's an ongoing problem, if not growing problem. We have commodities, we have a reduction in commodities, price going up, and in some countries are hoarding their supply. So it's going to be tough, especially wheat, grains, palm oil, and those type of commodities. Especially in developing and third world countries, it's going to be challenging for them. Turkey threatens to block Finland and Sweden NATO bids. So Turkey's president has restated his opposition to Finland and Sweden joining NATO just hours after they said they would seek membership. How NATO membership works is that there has to be a consensus among all members. And so if Turkey rejects, that's going to make it a little tough. And President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said that the two Nordic nations should not bother sending delegations to convince Turkey, a key NATO member, of their bids. He is angered by what he sees as their willingness to host Kurdish militants. Turkey is very friendly, has been friendly to Russia in the past. So I think he's just using that as an excuse. According to Gizmodo, your case of Omicron might have super boosted your immunity if you were vaccinated. What this article, let me magnify it for you. This article basically says that if you had vaccination and you had COVID, more than likely that your immune system has been boosted even further. A pair of studies suggest that vaccinated people who caught the variant went on to develop a strong and diverse immune response to the SARS-CoV-2 coronavirus in general. So that's pretty cool. So for those who get vaccinated, your immune system is stronger, is what this article is saying. According to investing.com, they mentioned that we have seen peak U.S. CPI, but not peak inflation pressures. And it's important to know the difference. So CPI, the last CPI print came in at 8.3 after and falling slightly from 8.5 in the prior month. But the pressure on inflation is there's still high pressure. That's still pushing prices higher. Just because inflation is the percentage is dropping doesn't mean the price is dropping with it. So there's still pressure for the price to continue to rise, especially things like commodities and energy, gas, things like that. So we're not out of the woods yet. According to CNBC, India isn't the only one banning food exports. These countries are also doing the same. I mentioned this prior and in the previous video as well. India was holding on to their wheat and not exporting. And so other countries like Indonesia, they're holding on to palm oil and not exporting, limiting export. So let's see here. The war has triggered a huge spike in wheat prices, with Russia and Ukraine among the biggest exporter of commodity. while Russia's they're facing sanction, and Ukraine, they can't grow and harvest and their wheat or other crops. Many countries have banned wheat as well as other food exports as a result of Ukraine crisis. So just basically they're just saying that price is going to spike, continue to rise, inflation is going to continue to rise, and interest rates going to, the Fed's going to continue to raise interest rates to try to fight inflation. So we're behind the ball still. The Fed is behind the ball. CNBC, investors withdraw over $7 billion from Tether, raising fresh fears about stablecoins backing. Tether circulating supply has slipped from about 83 billion a week ago to less than 76 billion on Tuesday, according to data from CoinGecko. I want to show, I've been talking about this on Twitter, and I'm not sure if I've mentioned it in videos, but I've been tracking Tether, and it has not sustained a dollar peg. After Terra UST stablecoin crashed, and people lost a lot of money. Ever since that crash, UST hasn't been stable, and I'll show you the chart. Here's from CoinMarketCap. You can see here it's a 7-day range. The green line is when Tether is pegged to the dollar. It's the red line here. When it's red, it means it's off peg, and it's below $1. And you can see here, starting roughly 5/11, May 11, 2022 at 5 a.m. After that, it hasn't sustained its peg. And I've mentioned to people on Twitter that they should, if you need to hold something in stablecoin, hold it in USDC. Do not hold it in Tether or USDT, because we don't know what can happen. Here, it dropped to 95, is that 85 or 95? Let me read it. 95. Yeah, it dropped to 95 cents, and that's ridiculous. It's supposed to hold it's pegged to $1, and there's no audit. We don't know what Tether is holding to back up its price. They won't reveal. They said they won't reveal because they're probably worried that people are not gonna buy Tether or hold on to Tether. So be really careful. I know some exchanges only trade, some pairs only trade in Tether. And so if you have to do it, hold it in USDC, then change it to Tether, and then buy the coin when you need to. But don't hold the bulk of your stable coins in Tether. It's really high risk. And also they're allegedly connected to Bitfinex. And Bitfinex has an interesting and colorful history. So with that, that's the end of the news. I appreciate your time, and feel free to smash the like, ring my bell, hit subscribe if you haven't, and share your thoughts and comments in the comment section. And I will see you in the next video, more likely tomorrow morning. Peace.